we have been looking at what we do and finding ways of how can an individual be able to participate. How can somebody come in and say, hey, I'm offering my services, these are my services. If you are a company, you have a company, you can say, oh, you know what, we can provide pro bono services. Or it can be financial, where on a monthly basis, you are a private donor and able to support somebody somewhere who is suffering. And so at this particular time, I just wanted to be able to, before I ask Elder Benon to come, I just wanted to raise somebody from this church who has made the decision to be able to be a private donor to ADRA. And as ADRA, we're so thankful for his decision. And I hope you are going to be inspired in terms of what the brother has intends to do as we go on this journey together. And therefore, at this point, I want to raise my brother, Mr. David Kalemera, just to stand and also so that the church can see you. Amen. Brother David has given himself to be able to work with us, and he has given himself to the Lord so that he can be the hands and the feet of Jesus Christ. To be able to help somebody who is sick out there so that she can be able, or he can be able, to get treatment. There are many of them who are suffering. Now, this refugee camp hosts more than 120,000 people who flee from DRC Congo. ADRA has put up a clinic. Of course, there are some of the services which we are providing, but there are certain shortfalls within the clinic which we need to be able to ensure that the clinic is running well. We have 9 staff who are permanently there, but the support needs to continue coming to ensure that those people who are suffering, they can be receiving the assistance. And so we need to continue as a church also to pray for our brother, but also for many more people who are still making decisions to be able to be private donors to ADRA. You can be a private donor also. It doesn't require a lot of money. Just a little of it, it will go a long way. And if you are interested, as we'll be leaving, come to us and let's see how we can register your name, how we can discuss. We'll be able to be providing reports to you in terms of how the money is working for those people who are suffering. Now, I want to leave you in the good hands of the programs director for ADRA. He is Elder Benon Matov Waumba. I hope I've pronounced it correctly. Waumba. Because in Zambia we have Wumba. Now here you put BA in front. And so he's Waumba. You see, we come from the same mother. So, Elder, this is your time. You're welcome.
Elder, do we have a moving mic? Because I want to be near. Is it possible to have a moving mic? As Elder Henry is coming, I want to take this opportunity to thank Elder John and his team, the Arch-Elder of Mt.Olives, for inviting ADRA and giving us an opportunity to giving us an opportunity to at least share with you about what ADRA is doing. I'm delighted that at least I have some people to talk to. By the time I came in after the hour, I was seeing only empty chairs because this is the first time Adra is presenting when we are facing chairs. Central Church has invited us. It was filled to capacity and bunga, but still I'm happy. At least I have some people who are committed to hear what Adra is going to talk about. And that one gives me a lot of power. and I feel blessed. At least I know I have the few who are really committed to hear and learn with us about what Adra is doing. Learning is a process. I just wanted to take you a little back during the morning, during the divine service. Elder John mentioned something. He said that we are the hands and feet of Jesus. We are the hands and feet of what? Hey, you don't. And John, what happened to this church? You know I'm a social worker by design. I've spent 30 years talking to adults. You know, when you speak children, they have that fear. The first few minutes, they are timid. As you keep on talking and talking, they start picking and picking and picking and picking until by the time you finish, they have picked. But with adults, often they pick from point go. So, but also it is the culture. It could be the culture. Here, I learned from Elder Henry that you don't announce so many things. In my Luganda church, they announce each and every detail, and you get bored and tired. But anyway, we are going to talk. Elder John said in the morning, Elder Z, you're welcome, said that we are the feet and hands of God. I welcome Elder Sendaula Stephen here. He's one of the persons, he looks young, but I think the wife has kept him well. At least he's one of the few persons who started ADRA Uganda in 90s. ADRA started in 1986. But during 1986, I was part of the beneficiaries, Elder John. I was deep in the village there in 1988. The pastor and Sereko, Elder Zero knows him. And later, by that time, I hadn't become an Adventist. Very little did I know that it was going to be the pastor who will wed me. He came with a kutia. A kutia is a sack made out of saiso. Saiso is becoming outdated. On his bicycle, to our local church there were only 12. Gayaza, Elder Kanyanchiko, you know those people. So they had made a crusade in Gayaza. But for me, I refused to get baptized for about 6 years. I was living with Adventist. And he said, I'm coming from ADRA. And I've brought second-hand clothes. And that day for me, I got a blouse. But a blouse was very important because I took it and enjoyed it, and I was putting on that blouse for some good years. Yari ya kapira. What is the kapira? Nylon. That thing took time to get torn, and it was eaten by the rat. So you see, much as by that time Adra was giving old second-hand clothes, still there were some poor people. Why were we poor at that time? We're just retrieving from the 5-year guerrilla war which brought the current government in power. And in that war, it was fought in our area. And I lost 4 brothers. One was buried alive. Cows were taken, coffee plantations, grubus, bushe, everything was destroyed. We are eating kayinja, musa. There were not even food to eat during that time. You can't even eat kayinja. You can't eat kayinja today. You can die, but we are eating it. So that's the time when the pastor arrived with a sack, a miniature of so few pieces of clothes. And I was like, I was one of those people who got a blouse. And I was putting on a blouse. But very little did I know that one day I'll grow up, go to school. 1987, I was really very young. And also one day, I find myself in ADRA. So when Elder John was speaking, I said, ADRA is very it is something which Adventist, as the church, it is an entity which, by the way, when you talk about ADRA, before I think people in the cage you are listening, before we talk about ADRA, a couple of years ago, I was a manager in Akasek in ADRA, and we got some visitors, the donor from Sweden, who are funding this project. And then they spoke so well about ADRA, but this new RDC, because he's the president of the district, then was given an opportunity to speak, and then when he was speaking, he said, I know ADRA very well. He wanted to impress the donor that he also knew ADRA. But he was barely 2 months old in the district. And then he said, ADRA is Agricultural Development Organization. The whites turned their eyes like this and turned to read and opened their eyes and became so embarrassed. So sometimes we take it for granted that people know what ADRA is. ADRA is Adventist Development and Relief what? Agency. And it is the developing hand, wing, leg of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, whose headquarters is situated in Washington, Richmond, D.C. So ADRA is the development end of the conference, the conference, the SDA Church conference, and so we are under the SDA Church. So all of us were part and parcel of ADRA. It's not Joe, it's not Benon, it's not others who could be sitting on the board, but each and every person, this is your organization. For us who are working today, we come and go. Like I said, can you stand up, sir? Because some people are not seeing you there. This gentleman was the chief engineer for all ADRA, one of the chief engineers when ADRA was constructing over 150 schools. And also he constructed he was the main engineer for the dormitories in Bugema Senior Secondary School. So now he's not in ADRA, but he served his time and went. So in ADRA we say the new purpose of ADRA Uganda, they made it short because they want everybody to master it on his or her. We need you to master this on your fingerprints because it is the first purpose of ADRA was too long, about 3 lines. But now we talk about we serve humanity so that all may live as God intended. That's the purpose. Brief and precise. Serving God so that all may live as God intended. The overall, or the ultimate aim of this purpose is to promote well-being and the living condition of the people who are hurting, the vulnerable of the vulnerable, the poorest of the poor. So somebody in the cage, can we move? I'm going to run you through these pictorials very fast, and then we shall watch a 15-minute video, and if you have any questions, then you will be asking those questions. I thought that we shall not use a lot of theory, literature, but we shall be using visual things so that you don't, I know after lunch, it's a bit boring for people to just keep on listening without viewing anything. So currently, we are working, you can see the kind of work we have and the honors we have. But as I speak all this, don't forget, the main mission of our coming here is to motivate you to support the cause of 126,000 DRC Congo refugees. And how are we going to support them? We are going to support them by supporting the ADRA clinic, which is currently serving over 400 patients per day. So that's the main cause. But much as you are reflecting on that cause, we want also to give you a broader picture of what ADRA is doing and what ADRA is at the moment. So around this time, we are working mainly in the hard-to-reach areas of Uganda. Karamoja has been one of the hardest areas to work in. Up to date, there is intermittent killings. When I say intermittent killing, it's an area where you go today and you don't know that you may come back. It looks so peaceful, but we have gun-holding or wielding young people who are coming from this porous border. We have the Topesa here from South Sudan. We have the Tukanas from Kenya. Sometimes they sneak in to come and steal the animals. So along the process, they can ambush your vehicle, and of recent, they have become so naughty to an extent that when they stop you, they strip you off, all of you are stripped off of your clothes, so that they may take the phones, because now we have the literate thugs. So the original Karamojongs, they were just interested in, when Stephen was working there, they were just interested in taking the mirrors, these side mirrors off the car. They want to look at their face. Also, they wanted to cut the tires so that they can create those walking shoes. But now they want the laptops, they want phone, they want the clothes, they want everything. So that's why it's the hard-to-reach area. But also we are there in Yumbe, next to the border with Sudan, very remote places. And also we are a little bit in Kisoro with the Batra, the short people. But also we are in Chaka and Ramanja. That's why we have the DRC Congo refugees, Chegegwa and the Kamwenge areas, where we serve over 126,000 refugees with different donors. I want to rush you fast. But you can see Uganda is too big with 126 districts. So the work, since ADRA is a ministry, we have a lot of work. Because like in northern Uganda, just flash it back a little. I can show you this and you'll realize that we need to do some work. Just come back to the map. Go back to the map. You can see in Padel area here, we had a small church in Gulu, but we didn't have any church in Padel district. We had a small church in Kitigum. We didn't have any church in Agago. Also didn't have any church in Karamoja. But because of ADRA, now we have planted some church, a number of churches, over 6 churches in the Acholi sub-region, and also now we have a church in Kotido. Since time immemorial, 1927, we had never had any church in Karamoja. And we had only 2 churches in the Greater Acholi, yet the size of Kitigum by then is the size of the Republic of Rwanda. So we need to support ADRA, because ADRA opens the door for the church to come in and preach. So let's move fast now. The next slide. So this is, So these are our thematic area. The new language, development language, it is change goal areas, or in the past was strategic areas. ADRA promotes education, health. Elder John has been talking about health. These are the core areas of ADRA Uganda. So you see what we are doing. So this is what you are seeing here. But one thing which I forgot to put there is gender and social protection. Let's move fast. No, don't go ahead. Just next slide. So these are the partners, the current partners, development partners of ADRA Uganda. We have for visibility purpose, some people they don't see very far. We have ADRA Denmark and Danida. We have ADRA Norway and the government of Norway. We have ADRA Sweden and SIDA. SIDA is the government of Sweden. Then we have Finland and the government of Finland. We have ADRA Canada and GAC, Global Aid Canada, that's the government of Canada. We have ADRA Slovakia and Slovak Aid, that's the government of Slovakia. We have ADRA International, which is currently funding the hospital in the emergency setting. So far, we have only one donor, plus Ishaka Hospital. We have Ishaka there with their staff. They are trying to work hand in hand with ADRA to make sure that at least these people are hurting are served. So we also have other partners and also like the government of Uganda and UN. Move on. So under resilience, what is resilience? Resilience means to bounce back. When these refugees come, you can imagine some of the refugees we talk to, they are former doctors, they are lawyers, they are teachers, they have masters, they have PhD. So they become really shattered and dismayed and disgusted, and they become too vulnerable. You may not think that even this person you are standing or talking with was a lawyer, was a doctor, was what. So that's why you have this word resilience. We talk to them, We implement programs that can restore their hope and they bounce back into the normal lives. One of the things we do under resilience is to support them to realize their, at least to make sure that they can do something to meet their livelihood needs. And so you can see here, we have, like when you come to Chaka near the hospital, we have a demonstration unit or training unit where TOTs, trainers of trainers among the refugee groups, they come and learn how to grow quick, maturing, high-value vegetables. So when you look at here, when they come here, they learn how to grow these tomatoes, which are high value and which can even grow throughout the year. I think here in Buganda, what we know tomatoes that are grown for 2-3 months and they are in. But we can grow, we have those species which you can grow, they are dwindling species. They can grow throughout the year and we are picking the tomatoes. And so refugees of recent, they used to receive $19,000 per month. Right now they receive only $4 per month. $4 is how much? That is around 15,000 Uganda shillings for a month. What can you do with 15,000 Uganda shillings per month? So that's how ADRA comes in to give them the livelihood skills, and then they are able to fend for themselves. Can we move on? So you can see carrots are very expensive. I love carrots, but I don't eat them regularly because they are very expensive. But refugees, the government of Uganda has the most progressive and friendly refugee policy in the whole world. So the government donates land to each refugee, at least about 30 meters by 30. Out of that, if they are told to grow maize or cassava, they can harvest a food which they can eat for only 1 week. But when they learn how to grow like carrots, cucumbers, cabbages, onions, high-value crops, in a space like this, they can earn over 200,000 Uganda shillings or 300,000 Uganda shillings, and they can be able to buy beans, posho, and other basic needs in their homes and survive. Can we move on? So you can see, I think Daziri and others, you have taken time without seeing here in Buganda, a farmer with these nice-looking cabbages. Am I deceiving, Elder? But this is the order of the day when you come to the refugee setting where ADRA is working. So we have Elder Stephen. Is this very common in Bugama where you live? Is it common? He's shaking his head. It's not common. But you see, look at this refugee. These are just refugees who are given only 30 by 30, but sometimes they borrow land from they hire land from the host communities, and sometimes you find that the host community, they don't even have good food or good vegetables like the refugees. So the refugees can afford to borrow or hire land. They grow cabbages, they sell, and then they get also money to pay school fees for their children who are in secondary school, because the UNHCR mandate is the mandate for UNHCR caters only refugee children who are in primary school. When they finish primary and they go to secondary school, it's no business for United Nations. Can we move on? So this is a 13-acre rice farm. It was amazing that last year we took the Norwegian embassy to see some of the groups of the refugee. There was a group which had 30 acres of rice. They harvested and harvested. This is upland rice and the Naalya variety. And the yield was so nice. You could see a lot of stuff on the thing, and they were harvesting and harvesting, sleeping and staying in the whole garden for weeks and weeks harvesting. And so that's what ADRA, part of what ADRA is doing with the funds which we receive from other partners, which I've shown you. But you can see the garden is too clean. When I was working in Ruero with Stephen there, we had tried this upland rice when the former Vice President Gilbert Bukenya was promoting rice, but you could not even find it as clean as this. And sometimes they could plant only 1 acre, 2 acres, but they could not even manage them very well. So can we proceed? ADRA Uganda also support education, support ECD, that is early child development. When the refugees come, like I remember in 2016, we are receiving 8,000 refugees per day from South Sudan. 8,000. I don't know how many buses. And you could see buses and buses. The bus carries only 50 or 60 persons. But at the reception center, you could see the reception centers, that's the entry point from South Sudan. They were receiving 8,000 on a daily basis. So when they come, majority of people who come, they are children and women. Children who are aged 5, 7 years below, they are too many. They always form around 82%. So what ADRA does is to support the early child development by creating what we call child-friendly spaces. Because without these child-friendly spaces, children get lost, others are kidnapped. This business of selling kittens and doping children, sell them to Thailand and other things. Some unscrupulous people, they tend to visit, and somehow we tend to see that a number of children get lost. So it takes even about 6 months when you are even trying to look for the different families which are responsible for these children. Because when they are running, the parents are killed, others have disappeared to Kenya, others to South Sudan, others where those who manage to board the bus, they come, and we put them in those schools. But also we support primary school and school feeding. Primary school children and school, we do school feeding. ADRA launched an innovative program. I think it is the first of its kind where it is called parent-driven school feeding, where within the refugee setting, especially in northern Uganda, that's where we work with the nationals to donate land to the school, and then parents participate in weeding. We support them to open the gardens because sometimes the land is hard, they had to cut the forest. But after that, the parents weed, and then they engage in harvesting, and then we have seen children who have not been going to school coming to school, but also retention increasing and also performance. So that is the primary issue. Here we are trying to work, we have an intention to start working with ADRA Korea. They are visiting some of the schools which we are targeting, and they are conducting an assessment. Hopefully, we shall add another partner on that list this year or next year. So let's move on. So apart from early child development, primary, like an icon, and increase the voice. That is the board member, the chairperson for the programs committee, was visiting with us. Click on that to play. This one. Yeah, double click. No worries. We have another video, but that one was going to be very interesting also for you to see this lady. This woman is a group, one of the groups in West Nile, South Sudanese. They have 16 acres of cassava. Now it is ready. What we call block farming thematic areas. That is health, livelihoods, education, emergencies, and so on and so forth. So thank you so much for that slide, but now we are going to watch a video which is 15 minutes. So thank you so much, information manager for Mt.Olives. You have done it well. So now you can now open the video.
In Plakabur village, Kulak parish in Agago district, the late afternoon wind is blowing, gently sweeping nature away. Betty Abudoni winnows her sunflower with a post-harvest smile. Her husband, Abudoni Charles, is inside the store treating the sorghum sacks to its market needs before it is carried away to the market. The busy household is a standout in the village.
My family here have a total number of 9, 7 female and 2 male, including me. I received ADRA in 220. That year they came to our sub-county and they chose our village here, Kolakobu. When they came out with all those programs, I chose one way of farming. I chose farming, and the seed I took is sunflower. I bought 4 sacks of it, the smaller one, at 70 per each sacket. So I planted, and my sunflower yield very well. I got 8 sacks, the big one, and the other one remaining, which I plant later, I got 3 sacks.
The birth of this confidence is dressed in a model of empowerment, coal mill, community-led monitoring, evaluation, accountability, and learning. These seeds have been planted by the Together project that puts the power of information, planning, resource mobilization, and decision-making in the hands of the community. The theory of change has expanded possibilities. Abudoni has expanded into sorghum farming to maximize his farming potential. Abudoni has expanded into village serving and loan association VSLA to wisely manage his welfare. The impact of VSLA is well pronounced in Unchinga village, Acholi sub-county in Padera village. Teresa Anyang, a mass engagement officer, is here to irrigate the mushrooming interest of the village.
Initially, these saving groups are located where actually they are far from accessing financial services, because the groups, they are in remote villages that sometimes you find the bank is like 20 kilometers or 30 kilometers, so the community within that area cannot access the financial services that they want. So ADRA came and trained these groups in how they can always save little money and also borrow from their savings.
For the many here, never interfaced with formal saving and banking practice. Anyang's arrival and later donation cements the foundation stones. The VSLA principle is labeled by locals as most trusted bank in Kulakabura village, Adilang sub-county in Agago district. Alur Josephine has seen significant upgrade in household welfare since the introduction of VSLA. Through Community Support Initiative Program, Community Welfare and Empowerment sits at the core ADRA's support. Through Community Support Initiative Program, CSIP, the shift to better livelihoods is visible. Anjing Koma Farmers Group in Lomale Sub-Village, Lomale Sub-County, Agago District has invested her hopes in CSIP program. Together, the group has excelled in collective bargaining and marketing, banana growing and climate-smart agriculture.
My bananas plantation, I grew my plant last year, and I started planting on April. That's due to prolonged drought. I did not fulfill my need. I planted only half of acre, but some other portion of land is still left. I will continue this season, and the portion I planted is now doing well.
The boundaries have further been unlocked, extending into social interaction, welfare like gender rights, and impacting on out-of-school youth. Kibolta James, the chairperson, Youth Luzira Village, Ongom Sub-County, Galnam Parish, Padel District, gives a tour of the enterprise through the same efforts.
But the middle one is a bit small, not too big, like this one. This one and the other one, they are too big. We got all this thing through the knowledge we got from ADRA, because at the beginning, we were just loitering around. We were jobless in the village there. When the ADRA came out with their program, we also came out with our interest. We joined them. They gave us a lot of training from school. When we come out, we got even the graduation. We came out with the certificate. When we got the certificate, we are now doing some business, like even baking a bread. We are baking bread. We can even make all type of breads.
The building will house a basket of businesses: bakery, catering, hairdressing, and pet for rental fees. Hudson Ogwang is the area coordinator. He has overseen the output of VSLA, Climate Agro-Based Farming, Social Protection.
And also through the capacity building, we have given a hand to them. For instance, in livelihood, we have trained them on VSLA. We have trained them on best agronomic practices. We have trained them on climate smart agriculture. We have trained them on gender, human rights, and social protection. We have also trained them on documentation. We have trained them on advocacy and so on. All these trainings, this group have also now adapted this training and transferred to their homes.
The idea is deeply rooted elsewhere. In Ajumani village, Langoro sub-county, Kitugum district, the pillars affirm. Patrick Omuna is an influentialite in selling the same values after training from ADRA. He is door-to-door mobilization attempts to address gender-based violence and serving. Related, his back-to-school mobilization has billowed a fresh breath of air for positive parenting and education. Arel Primary School in Arel Central Village, Langoro Sub-County, Kitugum District, has weathered difficult times thanks to an umbrella by ADRA Uganda through the positive parenting model. Amon James, PTA chairperson, has captained efforts that have established new building structures.
No, Barrett, California get school, Biconia to 12, and we all a point very chocolate, one tower wing, or Meno, Ganawan Nano, Kirong, a beautiful ADRA, but Wakan, one on ADRA, here, Magayar.
The group's next target and achievement, they claim, is to accommodate teachers at school on top of boosting the school feeding program. Andio Nancy, mother of 4, is secretary of ATEC, Kilwank Model Parents of the school. Her story rising from the rubble of village rejection, alcohol abuse, delinquency has seen shifts in attitudes, lives of many, transformation of lives, and renewed support to the school program.
Waneno kama kuru ti materie kin la cho gidaro wakilo tino. Wachero machelo dul wa mio fon kuno. Waneno la kukwena kama peroti ye wanyang walok kidano megang enoni ti wabiro ka lubo kogi pedong ka waloro gichel watenyo
The seeds of community-based organization, CBO, have grown to address the previously ailing community and reverse negative labels. Vietnam Village, Ganam Parish, Ongom Sub-County in Paderal District, where scarce was the reality of expecting mothers. Anoyo Oyo, locally translated, birthed on the way, is a famous name parents attach to their children at birth as an address its challenge, the 4 project. The tropical savanna climate, drought and famine are never uncommon in the Chenjojo. This makes the 4 project a desired alternative. In its 3rd year running, the project explores 3 cycles of training, planning, agronomic, post-harvest handling. Israel Sabiti has his hands sold in every process.
This is now the greenhouse where we raise the high-value crops. And if I talk of high-value crops, I mean tomatoes, I mean cucumber, I mean sweet pepper, green pepper. Those are kind of vegetables we raise in this greenhouse for income generation of the project. What we raise here, still, in doing that, we are training refugees on how to raise tomatoes, the varieties of tomatoes that we raise here, like Anso, like Rio Grande. Those are the varieties of tomatoes we raise here, which actually give good yields. What we generate here as income helps us to still run the project.
Balenci Faustin's household is a model in the village when he fled North Kiev in DRC. Now, as a refugee, he has discovered farming as his survival. His wife, Rahul Justine, has been a reliable farming partner.
1,500 patients on a monthly basis. And per the tests we have, so others we refer them to other facilities, and majorly which are not here to reach. You can see the only big equipment we have here is a microscope. Then we do tests, which are microscope tests, then plus some other few rapid diagnostic tests, and whereby the major test done here is for diagnosis of malaria.
REAP project and the tests of its rewards are endless. This group, Amokeni Walemanji in Kaburungate village, attained valuable training from ADRA. Mugisa John Calvin is the area coordinator Chaka.
Inakuwa kwa store, tunatumika sabuni, tukapata msaada wa milioni 4 na mitoro 12.
Moise Kazungu, locked away in Tibabiniga, Central Chaka 2 parish, was previously frustrated by middlemen before ADRA muscled his efforts. The farmer market schools are now just a way to farming, but a way to a community self-discovery. Twimuche Group in Chokatwanga village, Kabweza parish, Chegega sub-county, has grown in leaps and bounds. Umoja Group in Chepango village in Ramwanja district has benchmarked 5 items: agriculture, savings, planning meeting, rotational support, bar soap making. Theophile Semiriango has seen the groups gain.
Asante sana. Ile tunawafundisha na wanatusikiliza kwa ile ambayo tunafanya nini? Tunawafundisha na wanaitumika, wanafundisha mambo mengine zao, wanakuwa na uzuri kama sisi.
Musime Ntavu is the area coordinator REAP in Ramwanja.
So far, we have done a lot we are working with 2 networks. We have been working with 2 networks where we are working with Umoja and Abateganda. Umoja is for refugees. then Abateganda is for host community. Basically, this program is on capacity building in areas of livelihood, advocacy, and social protection. So far, we have done a lot of several trainings, and which we are realizing some change for our people we serve.
Rooted from ADRA, the branches continue to support communities on the fruits shade have improved welfare decently.
Okay, thank you so much for viewing. We can stop there. If you have any comment, any question, my team leader, CD, Elder John is here. I'm also here. Maybe I can invite Elder Henry, you know the names of the people, to come in front, and if there's somebody who wants to speak, he help me to spot them.
If you have a question or a comment, please put up your hand so that we give you this time, then we can close. Anyone with a question or comment? It's okay. Thank you. If there is none, it means that the facilitator delivered the message well, and you are all satisfied. It is upon unto us to ensure that we support ADRA. Let me invite Elder John to give a wrap-up.
Thank you so much, my elder. Good afternoon. Did we hear, because at times when a teacher is teaching, there are two things. Either we have heard or we have not, it was too much, or it was quite overwhelming. But I can take it that we have heard and that we appreciate the information which has come through. This is just a small bit of what we have shown you in terms of what we do in different areas. And therefore, if you have the heart to serve and also to support, we'll be ready to receive you and see how we can work together. But also, in our strategic plan, one of the focus is to be able to work with the church. And the church, which is the SDA church. And whereby we, as a church, we are able to identify certain things that we can be able to do together. Why? Because we are an Adventist organization. I know when I was in South Sudan, one of the things we did was to come up with an agreement we signed with a local church in a place called Upper Now in Mayut. And in that particular place, what we did, we established a rice farm, like the rice you saw, and whereby the church members were empowered to be able to grow rice. In as much as we as ADRA, we can be in the forefront doing this, but the church becomes part and parcel of the activities and doing those, then even the cost of implementation becomes cheaper. There are times when the church has asked and come to us and say, hey, why is it that you are not supporting the church? Why is it that you are not doing this? Why is it that you are not doing that? When we receive money from the donors, which our programs director had indicated, Elder Benon, that is restricted funding. We cannot take it anywhere. But when we get support from the church, then it's what we call unrestricted. When there is a disaster anywhere, we can be able to utilize that money to be able to respond without any problem. And this is what we are advocating, because as members, we do get those situations out there in the communities. And so I just want to thank the church, the administration, for allowing us to be able to come and be able to partner also with the welfare department. Because for your own information, ADRA started as a welfare organization. Initially, it was called SOS, Seventh-day Adventist Welfare Service. That was in 1956. The first 400,000 which they raised to go and respond to humanitarian catastrophes in Africa. Thereafter, over time, then it changed the name. They had to find a befitting name which would not really look like it's a Seventh-day Adventist church organization, but quite independent. And that's how the ADRA name was born. But otherwise, we are here as feet and the hands of Jesus Christ. We've answered the call, send us, O Lord. And therefore, we depend on you. We thank you so much for the support, and we'll be discussing with the church leadership in terms of how do we come in to support and how can you support also ADRA. At this particular time, we have our elder on duty, and therefore I will hand you over to our elder on duty. Thank you, Elder.
We want to take this opportunity to thank ADRA Uganda for the time they have given us so that we're in a position to understand and know what they do and where we need to come in as a church. Please, on behalf of the church, we want to say thank you. Next time, we'll be glad to have you here again so that we are in position to understand more and more of our responsibilities as a church. I want to request you stand and we pray so that we let other departments do their work. Merciful Father, we want to thank you this afternoon for you called us, Lord, to go and work. And Father, we are grateful for the avenues you've put amidst us to work with. On this day, we want to dedicate and pray and bless ADRA Uganda for the work that they do. Enable them, facilitate them. May you provide. And Father, because you are not limited by the means, may you extremely and abundantly provide above that they have asked for, so that the communities they are touching, they will be in position to know you and live better as you intended them to live. For this is a humble prayer in Jesus' name.